BeastNet podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Hey everybody, it's Mike with BeastNet here, and today I got with me Kacey McAllister. Kacey, tell everyone a little bit about yourself. I've talked to you many times, and we've had you on once before, but let the new listeners know who you are.
Yeah, this is Kacey McAllister. Man, to sum it up for you guys, I am a legless Spartan. That's who I am. It's kind of what I do. I lost my legs when I was a kid, but it never really slowed me down. And every day I'm trying to figure out how to rise up. That's my business. I do motivational speaking. So every day I'm finding ways to rise up and not let the little things in life, whether that be losing your legs or having 5 kids that won't let you get any work done. So trying to figure out how to not let those little things hold me back and hold me down.
Right on. I know. I was trying to remember the first one I met you at. I can't remember. It's been years. I've seen you, in Montana, Seattle, quite a few races I've run into you. So I know most recently I sat and talked to you for a little bit on the Beast in Montana.
So, yeah, man, that was
a couple weekends ago.
Course. Yeah, that was a rough one.
How'd you do on that? I mean, I saw you. It was pretty close to the beginning.
Yeah, it was definitely one of the rougher races. I learned a lot about myself, but I actually ended up not finishing that race, which is one of 3 races that I have ended up not finishing. So it was kind of a wake up call. I knew it was a possibility going into it, but it definitely was a start to future races.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a good way to look at it. I mean, that's one of the hardest things. I mean, I've been lucky. I've only DNF'd 1 race. And it's a wake up call, like you said. A lot of people look at it as a setback. And I mean, other people, you look at it as a learning. You learn something about yourself when you can't finish, Oh
yeah. Well, I mean, the whole race, the first 3 miles of the course really were really tough for me. I mean, there was a lot of hills for sure, but the undergrowth really slowed me down because I was trying to take my grit chair, and man, it really slowed me down those first 3 miles. And so I think I got into my own head because I was pretty much done after mile 3. I'm like, I don't know if I can keep going. And so at mile 3, there was this crossover to a point later in the course. And I was like, all right, I'm going to drop my chair here and see how I feel by the time I get back around to this point. And so I did the loop. It was about a mile and some loop. And by the time I got to that point, I was like, okay, I can keep going. But man, I had already had it in my head that I might quit. And I think that alone started to do me in. I already got inside my own head. And it was a rough course. I'm not shirking my accomplishment. And I got to mile 9, which was right before the hill from hell. And I looked up that hill and said to the volunteer, I'm like, all right, I can do a mile. I can do 1 more mile. I can get up that hill and down that hill, but I don't know what I'm going to do after that. And right then, I mean, looking back on, I'm like, oh shoot, I was in my head, that wasn't good. And so I went up the hill. I did the hardest part of that course. I went up the hill, came back down the hill, and that's when I called it in. I had already had to skip a bunch of obstacles because I had nothing left in the tank, and that's where I had to be done. But it was a great learning experience for me because I learned that I was already in my own head. Whereas past races, my mentality was, well, I'm either going to finish or die. So I already went into that race, well, after mile 3, with the expectation that I might not finish it.
Yeah, and that's a tough one because it's like you said, once you get into your own head like that, it's tough. And I know that's been one of my biggest struggles this last year. You kind of commented when I saw you, I've lost a lot of weight, running and doing all sorts of stuff. But there's been a lot of days I've gotten in my own head where I know if I give myself that out, I'm going to take it. And that's been the hardest part through this last year, is not giving myself not letting myself take those outs. Because I know myself, and I've done it in the past where I've given myself that out and then I take it. So it's really good to learn, to look at that as a learning experience, that, you had a rough race, and it was a tough race. It was a tough course. I was insane enough to do it where I decided it wasn't hard enough. So I put a 20-pound ruck on and decided to do it that way. So that was.
Well, the more I've thought about that race and my mentality and my struggles throughout that race, the more I realize, though, that a lot of people right now are having that same struggle in their own heads, because COVID and everything that's gone on with it has given everybody a really easy out. Yes. And there's so many people that are using that as an excuse to stay locked in their own heads, and to how many people didn't get out there and do a race? How many people, are still sitting at home eating the ice cream and, whatnot, and they're taking the out. And so even though I had a rough race, I got out there for a few purposes. And one of them was to try to help other people realize that regardless of failure, regardless of future failure, getting out and living your life is always the best course.
It is. And it's one thing I've really tried to say over the course of, this last year for me, is it's don't try and copy me. Don't try and do what I did. Don't try and do what anyone else did. Find what you love and get out of the house. Get out and do something. I mean, it's one of those, it doesn't even have to be get out of the house. Go find something. I built a gym in my garage. I did what I had to do so that I can continue on my journey. It's easy to take that excuse. And I mean, I'm not talking down to anyone who did. I'm just saying it's one of those things that you got to rise above it, rise up.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're all on our own journey here. I mean, every single one of us. I mean, I like everybody else, took a huge step backwards. I have to figure out my own route to get back to it, and it's going to be different than everybody else. And in that respect, we need to put our hands on other shoulders. Just like in that course, I had dozens, if not hundreds of people offer to take my chair up a hill. And you know what? I let them, because, we're all on this journey together. Those Spartan races, even though they are individual, we're out there as a family. We're out there as a tribe. And holy cow, can you even imagine if we would turn that attitude towards our communities and towards our lives, to start acting like a human family and a human tribe rather than individuals trying to run this race? It would definitely change a lot of things. Oh,
it definitely would. It would. So we definitely got to get together on one of these races and, get us to help you get through one of these. And, that was one thing I noticed. You were out there by yourself. I've seen a lot of these races where you see people do the same thing you do, but they have a team and support team. You were out there. There was nobody with you.
Yeah, so
that's one of the things. I was gonna say, that's one of the things that's always impressed me with you is I've seen, like I said, I've seen other people, in similar situations as you, and they're out there with an entire team of support team. And I think there's been a couple times I've seen you where there might be someone with you, but not necessarily a support team. Where there's really like somebody, that's really helping you get through it. And that's always impressed me, that you're out there, you're just doing it.
Yeah, well, I had something to prove to myself and to everybody else. I wanted to prove what was possible, and man, I have. I finished Tahoe completely on my own with no support. I finished other beasts with a grit chair completely unassisted and by myself. I've proved what I can do on my own. So. And so now I don't mind getting a little help here and there, but I definitely I'm out there for a reason. I'm out there to show what is possible. So many people give those excuses and take those outs, but I can't do it. Well, obviously I did a little bit, but I'm learning, and I don't want an out. I want to live my life to the fullest, and taking the excuses is not the way to make that happen.
No, it's not. And that's kind of thing is, I mean, for me, it's one of those, like I said, I spent a few years, I was still doing Spartan races, but I let myself get really big. And I kept giving myself those excuses. And I really found this year, even with COVID and everything else, this has been one of my best years, because I'm out there, I'm doing stuff. I feel amazing after all this running and everything else. And it just took me something changing in my brain to get me out there and they're moving again, and that's what I think a lot of us need.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. And now we're going to take a quick pause so we can hear from our sponsors.
Does your business need first aid, AED, OSHA, flagging, or other safety training? James Safety Services is your one-stop shop. Find them on Facebook today at James Safety Services WA and ask for a quote on hosting your training needs.
And we're back.
So what do you got coming up? What races you got coming up? Are you going to take a little break and do anything, or you got ones coming up next month and going for it?
I do. I got one coming up next month. I saw Denver, first stadium. I haven't done a stadium yet, so I'm going to go do the Denver. I think it's a super. We'll see how that goes. I got a lot of injuries that I'm trying to baby along, and I'm still trying to lose some COVID weight and everything, but I'm going to keep moving along, and we'll see what happens. I've never done a stadium. It might be easier. It might be harder. Who knows?
See, yeah, I'm not sure. I haven't done a stadium either. All I keep thinking about is those stairs. I hate stairs.
Surprisingly enough, that's one of my. I like doing stairs. I don't know why, but I can crack out a lot of stairs.
Yeah, see, that was one thing that, the hill you were talking about, we call it the FU Hammond Hill, because that hill is just, you hit that halfway point where you think it's done, that's the top, and then you realize it's an optical illusion, you're only halfway, and you're like, FU Hammond. No. But I can do those hills, because I train on hills around here all the time. There's big hills around where I'm at. I mean, they tire me out, obviously, but I can do those. But it was stairs, for whatever reason, just kill me. I hate stairs, and I don't know what it is. So, but I definitely want to do a stadium too. That's one I've never done. So I definitely want to do that. I'm actually, this year, I'm actually going for a triathlon for the first time. So. Oh,
awesome. Yeah, those are fun. I enjoy doing some swims, and yeah, it's a blast.
I'm not a good swimmer. So I actually just ordered a wetsuit, because, and a lot of people, partly I want it for the buoyancy, and partly I want it because where I have to train is a glacial runoff lake.
Oh,
yeah.
It's
the closest one to me. And they even talked about, there was a guy who 12 days ago drowned in that lake, and they think it's because of he tried swimming across and the cold got him. So I'm like, I'm going in that lake without a wetsuit. So.
Yeah.
So that's gonna be a new one for me. I'm trying to get, expand my horizons on that. So I'm doing a marathon in June, and then I'm gonna do another marathon. I'm gonna try triathlon. So. Yeah,
well, that's definitely one on my bucket list. I've done a half Ironman, but I definitely want to conquer the full Ironman sometime in my life.
Let me know when you want to do it. I want to do one too. Maybe we can do it together. So.
Yeah, there we go. Awesome.
We can get through that thing. So that'd be a blast. So, yeah. So what do you have to say to everyone who's out there? I mean, I know it's one of those things that, COVID, like you said, even, you gained a little bit of COVID weight. I think the biggest problem I've seen with COVID is a lot of not just gaining weight, but mental tiredness. The depression that comes with being stuck and not being able to go out and do things. I think that was the biggest thing that I noticed at the Spartan races. It's not, because this was my second Spartan weekend of the year. I did Vegas too. And both of them, it's not this, it's good to get out again, but it's not that same vibe.
Yeah.
That you got from years before.
It is different, but at the same time, getting out there on the course, one of the best things for me was seeing all of my Spartan family. I mean, it really was amazing. It felt like I was finally becoming myself again, because I was I was among my family, you know, well, and obviously we're all among our home family, but I got to be part of my tribe again. You know, I got to be out there and be a Spartan. And so, man, those of you guys listening, if you're feeling like that, you know, you're just really trying to overcome this, you know, COVID depression, especially here on the West Coast. I don't know when we're ever going to open back up. You know, if right, so if you're feeling that way, guys, get out there, you know, talk to other people, start doing stuff that's hard, because you got to get out of your own head. I've been scooting just on pavement, and man, that's a lot harder than scooting on dirt. But you know what? I'm pushing myself, seeing how far I can go, seeing how long I can take the pain, because you know what's worse than physical pain is that horrible, awful mental drudgery that we've all had to face. And so get outside, do something that sucks. I mean, go dig a stupid hole for no reason. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, you can find your own suck. I got a lot of things I do that have to suck. Embrace the suck, because at the end of the suck, you're going to find happiness. That's what you're going to find, because nothing, if you create your own hard, nothing in your life is going to be hard, because you already did it. You chose to do the hard things, so nothing else in your life is going to be that hard.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, that's been the thing that's been my whole year. I mean, it's one of those things I found. One of the things I do, because I couldn't do Spartans because they weren't happening, I did battle miles, which were virtual challenges that just were sucked. I mean, you know, one of them was a half marathon wearing a vest, you know, a 20-pound vest. I mean, there's all sorts of crazy things, and that became my embrace the suck, you know, with a bunch of burpees and a bunch of random things. But it became, yeah, like you said, my embrace suck. Go out there and do something hard, because then when all of a sudden, you know, when I went to go to the Spartan race, and I'm like, you know, let's do this with a 20-pound ruck. This is gonna suck, but let's do it, you know. And it just became my embrace the suck, and it did. I mean, it sucked. The one video that some people have seen, like when I'm going up and over Bender, I still have the 20-pound ruck on while I'm going up and over Bender.
Yeah. And
it was definitely interesting, because when the ruck shifted, it almost kind of threw me off the other side when I like went over.
Yeah.
So it's like you said, embrace the suck, but it's sometimes, you know, my suck's going to be different than everyone else's. So for me, you know, like I said, it was the battle miles, putting on the weights and going. You know, that became my suck, was the running, but now I enjoy it. Like right before we did this, I went out and did I got home in time, and I'm like, I have time to go do a 5K, and I went out and ran a 5K, you know, because that's what I do now. If I have time, I go for it. So, yeah.
Yeah, man. You know, and after a while, you start to crave that suck. You know, you start to feel off if you haven't done something hard for the day. You know, it just starts to become a part of who you are. And that's when you really, I mean, in the beginning, it sucks and it's awful and you hate it. But it's when you start to embrace it and start to crave it that your mindset starts to change. And you'll find yourself conquering other areas of your life, because, I mean, it's not hard. And so, in fact, if it's hard, you'll dive into it even more, because you realize, you know, that's where the true power lies. It doesn't lie in finishing it. It doesn't lie in the easy tasks. It lies in the challenge. That's where the success lies. That's where the journey is. That's what my end goal is. It is the suck. It is the journey, because that's where I'm going to be more powerful.
Oh yeah, and that's it. And that is so true, because I have to say, like this year, when I started running, started changing everything else, then I finished my college degree. I did a whole bunch of other things, and I have changed not just my weight and everything else. I've changed my trajectory in life, because I've been able to find, you know, that zen, you know, and the running helped me do that. Yeah. So right on. So what other things do you have coming up besides, you know, Denver?
I plan on doing Hawaii. Be my first time doing Hawaii. Wanted to get away with my wife, so I'll be doing that in August. Looking at a couple other races, some fun runs around here with friends. but just kind of taking a little bit easy. I got some injuries that I got to try to get over. So we'll see how it goes, but just getting back into it, getting back into life, speaking, getting my motivational speaking business back going, and inspiring as many as I can along the way.
Right on. That's awesome. So, well, Hawaii, I'm going to be there. So I'm
Awesome.
going to Hawaii. So which race you doing? The Beast again?
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do the Beast.
You like a glutton for punishment.
Well, I figure I'm going to travel that far. I might as well do the hardest thing they got.
Yeah. It's a gorgeous race. It's one thing I got to tell you. The venue's amazing. It's like Montana though. There's some nasty hills, but then you get to the top of those hills, and it's like I have died and gone to heaven. The views are amazing. So, yeah, I'll be there. I'll be there for that one. I love Hawaii. So, and my wife loves any excuse to go. So,
yeah, it'll be a blast.
Yeah. So awesome. Well, hopefully I'll see some more of them. So, is there anything else you wanted to say to the listeners while I got you?
Oh, hey, I appreciate you bringing me on.
Anytime.
Heck, anything you guys can do, get out there and start living your life again. Don't sit around and feel sorry for yourself. I've had plenty of opportunities. I got 5 kids doing the online schooling, and yeah, that's a sucky situation too. So get out there, live your life, and it'll be awesome.
Nice. Yeah, no, I got lucky with the kids. My youngest graduated last year, so I didn't have to deal much with that. So
yeah.
Right on. Well, it was good talking to you. We'll talk to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me on.
Keep in touch, and anybody who wants to find him, Rise Up with Kacey. You have a website and everything, don't you?
Oh yeah, website, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all across those platforms.
Yeah, find him. And follow him. All right. Well, thank you, Kacey, and I hope to talk to you again soon.
All right. Thanks, man. Hey, have a great day.
All right. You too.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook. Like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.